Good morning. My name is Marcelo Godoy, and I'm Senior Vice President for Exploration at Newmont. Today, I will share with you how we at Newmont see the future of mining exploration and the challenges that lie ahead. And before you ask, no, the picture here is not from the Red Planet, it's the Gibson Desert in Western Australia. Leave the cautionary statement for a few seconds for your enjoyment, and there we go. There are three key messages that I would like you to take away from this presentation today. First is this somewhat controversial idea that finding ore bodies is not all about luck, and exploration success is not unpredictable. Second, my favorite, is a prediction saying that while some companies will struggle to replace depleted reserves, those that act in a counter-cyclical way and build world-class exploration capabilities will be rewarded with disproportionate returns. And third is the concept that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. But before we glimpse into the future, it's important that we reflect about our past and understand how we arrived where we are today. Newmont has spent nearly a century in the natural resources industry, mining gold, base metals, lithium, uranium, coal, aggregates, and even developing oil and gas. Everything began in 1916 when Colonel William Boyce Thompson established the Newmont Company. And in 1921, the company reincorporates in Delaware as Newmont Corporation. This becomes the company's official birth date. The discovery of the Carlin Trend in the early 60s was the largest gold discovery in North America during the 20th century. And most importantly, it was the world's first discovery of submicroscopic disseminated gold. And it really revolutionized the gold industry. Exploration was always been and continues to be a core competency and investment priority for Newmont. It's the foundation for growing our reserves and resources. This slide shows a timeline with Newmont's significant discoveries over the last 60 years. The Carlin area had been prospected through panning earlier in the 50s and produced low levels of gold. But it wasn't until 1961 when a curiosity drove geologist J. Allen Coop to leverage assay geochemistry that the significance of invisible gold at Carlin was revealed. In 1972, the Telfer gold deposit was discovered in the Great Sandy Desert in Australia. And by the mid-80s, Telfer was the largest gold mine in the country. In 1988, Yanacocha was discovered near the city of Cajamarca in Peru. Yanacocha is the largest gold producing district in South America with an endowment greater than 50 million ounces of gold. In 1991, our Greenfields exploration team exploring the Lombok and Sumbawa Islands in Indonesia discovered Batu Hijau using black geochemistry. In 2007, we had a major brownfield discovery at Tanami, the Oron deposit, which was followed by Federation and Liberator in 2013 and 15. These three deposits are the cornerstone of the ongoing Tanami expansion project. So this discovery timeline reveals a key aspect of Newmont's exploration strategy. We explore for gold districts. Our greenfields discovered such as Carlin, Yanacocha, Marion, each led to a series of brownfields discoveries. So our history has shown that it really pays to be first movers in new districts. Over the past 70 years, Newmont has been an innovation leader in the industry and was responsible for step change developments in exploration technology. Many of these developments are industry-leading practices today. This slide shows the key exploration technologies developed by Newmont over time, which contributed to several gold discoveries. The first one on the left is ground-induced polarization, the IP, which was developed during the late 40s and early 50s. The image on the left gives you an idea of how the IP hardware looked like when it was first deployed to the field in 1948. During the late 80s and early 90s, BLAG was developed to address concerns related to accuracy of assaying fine-grained gold and dealing with problems associated with sample heterogeneity. In 2003, we first deployed NewTEM, a time domain helicopter tow EM system. The system was unique in its ability to map resistive silification associated with gold mineralization. And NewTEM was successfully applied to many of our projects. Then in 2009, NewDAS was deployed. NewDAS is a 3D IP distributed acquisition system and was revolutionary for its ability to map chargeable bodies to greater depths and at much higher resolution. In 2015 and 16, we had two major developments in surface geochemistry: the deep sensing geochemistry and terrain map geochemistry. I'll talk about them later in the presentation. Also in 2016, we developed the first application of virtual reality to geologic modeling, which was also the first time we invested in open source development. So the past, present, and future of exploration was, is, and will always be about teamwork. At Newmont, the exploration team has a very clear purpose: to replace reserves depletion by pursuing organic growth and external opportunities with the highest value and upside potential. I would like to talk about some of our strengths, which I believe are key factors for successful exploration. We know that talent makes all the difference in exploration success. Many people have said that. But in order to obtain extraordinary performance, talent needs to be leveraged with an operating model that supports the business objectives while allowing for leadership and technical development, collaborative teamwork, and replication of best practices. At Newmont, we have a sector-leading team with 338 geoscientists and a proven operating model. Our geological know-how, our systems, our processes have been developed and improved over a long period of time and continue to be state-of-the-art. We believe that learning from past experience is essential, and we have a chronic unease about safety and continuous improvement. We have a robust exploration pipeline and a land position of 68,000 square kilometers. We have leading proprietary exploration technology, as we have seen in the previous slide. And we have industry-leading safety, environmental, social, and governance performance. We complement our organic growth with strategic equity investments, alliances, and joint ventures. And these partnerships, they allow Newmont to accelerate discoveries by gaining direct access to projects. So here we have some key metrics. We have made 28 major discoveries since 1990, hosting approximately 193 million ounces of gold. We have added 63 million ounces of reserves by the drill bit from 2009 to 2019. And we have completed 65 exploration joint ventures over the past 10 years. So since the acquisition of Goldcorp, we have reshaped our portfolio to generate between 6 and 7 million ounces of gold per year for the next decade, plus an additional 1.2 to 1.5 million gold equivalent ounces from other metals. At Newmont Exploration, we work to replace reserves depleted at our managed operations, as well as to bring new greenfields discoveries into the project's pipeline. And that job corresponds to bringing a yearly average of 5 to 5.5 million ounces of gold to reserves and about 1.5 million ounces of gold equivalent ounces from other metals to reserves as well. As I mentioned before, we have a robust exploration pipeline in some of the world's top gold domains. Here is a global view of our operated brownfields and greenfields programs. Our shareholders have exposure to 95.7 million ounces of gold reserves, plus an additional 63 million ounces of gold equivalent reserves from other metals. And 87% of Newmont's reserves are in the Americas and Australia. All right, so I want to switch gears now and talk about how exploration will look like in the future. I have 7 predictions to share with you today. We expect that they will become common practice within the next 20 years, of course, at different paces. Sorry, something. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. All right, first one. Most significant discoveries will be undercover and deeper. Exploration undercover is not only harder, it's slower and it's more expensive. Prospecting will be faster and more efficient with AI-capable drones and rovers. And the picture of the Mars rover Curiosity down there is a reminder that indeed the future is already here. 3, faster data acquisition and lower costs from automated core logging and assaying at the drill rig. The current cycle between drilling, logging, sampling, and assaying is painfully slow. When our industry solves this problem, the time from discovery to production will be shortened by several years, and that has a tremendous value. Number 4, widespread use of autonomous drill rigs, achieving higher levels of productivity and safety. Number 5, geological interpretation and modeling will be done in centralized support hubs. These technical hubs will be streaming to the rigs the position of the next drill hole based on the results of the previous drill holes, having incorporated them into a real-time predictive geological model. Number 6, artificial intelligence will be pervasive across exploration activities. And number 7, we finally will have some lower extraction costs from advancements in processing and mining. So as I mentioned before, undercover deposits is one of the biggest technical challenges we face as explorers. And this is a framework we use at Newmont to tackle this challenge. First, we need to understand the target concept and know what successful drill results need to look like. So using a mineral systems framework is essential, as it addresses the critical questions of why the deposit is there and where is the next deposit. Then we leverage geochemical and geophysics technologies to identify deposit signatures undercover. I'll talk about that, more about that shortly. We characterize the depth of cover, characterizing and understanding the cover is just critical in determining what lies beneath. And finally, we integrate all available data and information into a 3D prospectivity model to identify the best targets. So before I move on, I want to talk about the image you see here, because it's the first time we managed to make this really work well. This is a high-resolution 3D seismic model that, in this example, hard rock, allowed for a complex geologic environment to be accurately mapped and characterized. A number of stratigraphic layers in the sequence are readily apparent in the model, as you can see. The structures which control gold are seen as interruptions in the reflectivity, and the model allows for structures to be extended and extrude new structures to be easily identified. Next, I would like to talk about geophysics, geochemistry, and 3D prospectivity modeling applied to undercover exploration. Starting with geophysics, the larger picture on the left corresponds to the results of an airborne gravity gradiometry survey, AGG. Gravity data highlights key controlling structure for gold deposits. But ground gravity acquisition is slow, is expensive, and can be hazardous. AGG surveys cover large areas quicker, safely, and with no ground disturbance. An aircraft can survey an area in days, which would otherwise take months to cover on the ground, and the exploration cycle time is greatly reduced. The image on the left shows the the difference in resolution between pre-existing regional gravity data collected with ground instruments and recently acquired AGG data at Eleanor in Quebec. Moving to the image in the center, you see an application of high-res 2D inversion of airborne EM data, which was used to map the contact between the conductive volcanoclastic cover and resistive silicified volcanics at Cerro Negro district in Argentina. Steps in this contact represent sets of normal faults that host gold-bearing veins. So you can note the potential new fault target on the right side of the image. And lastly, the image on the right shows density and velocity contrasts measured by passive seismic sensors. Passive seismic is a rapid, cost-effective, non-invasive method of mapping the thickness and character of the regolith. Let's now look at the next generation of surface geochemistry technologies. Starting on the left, we have stream sediment geochemistry. Newmont's BLAG is not really the same as the commercially available analytical methods. BLAG is the term we give to the entire stream sediment planning, sampling, processing, analysis, and interpretation, in which all have been customized. We have been developing BLAG continuously over decades, leveraging improvements in processing analytical capability and interpretation. The method is accurate and reliable. It's also very efficient as we screen more ground and focus faster and cheaper. Conventional stream sediments are sampled at high density to counter the challenge signal to noise contrasts. So in general, it requires a sample to characterize a 3 square kilometer catchment. Newmont's BLAG has a very high signal to noise contrast. It has been shown to be effective in identifying significant mineralization occurrences in up to 100 square kilometer catchments. And then in the case of Batu Hijau discovery, it resulted from a BLAG anomaly in 20 square kilometer catchments as part of a 2,000 sample program. Now jumping to the right side of the slide is DSG. Test work has shown this technology provides superior precision and repeatability compared to commercial surface sampling alternatives, with the ability to identify undercover mineralization. We have an example where we identified the migration of gold and pathfinder signal through 700 meters of upper plate geology above the Leeville complex in Nevada. The application of DSG has become a standard practice for our exploration teams. Now moving to TMG in the middle. TMG stands for Terrain Mapping Geochemistry, and it leveraged the DSG technology for efficient broad-scale reconnaissance. This tool can be used at ultra-sparse sampling to provide an efficient means to screen large areas of land in areas where that are not amenable to BLAG. In addition to mapping broad-scale alteration centers, the depth of data provides valuable information on lithological and regolith character, which when combined with geophysical data sets greatly improve our understanding of the system. As discussed before, 3D prospectivity models can be used to identify deep targets. But for that to happen, it's essential that you couple data with geological knowledge. And that is illustrated in this image by the inputs to the conceptual target model, including mineral systems controls, event charts, and various data layers. And these prospectivity models, if done properly, not only provide targets with highest probability of success, but they greatly improve the depth of knowledge and understanding about those systems. So building a 3D prospectivity model requires strong collaborative interpretations and machine learning. Machine learning are computer algorithms that improve automatically through experience. One of the greatest advantages of machine learning that takes away human bias and provides insights into unknown trends, and by doing that, provides a better understanding and thus quicker and more informed exploration decisions. In this slide, you see 5 examples of the problems we have been solving using machine learning. Let's start with the sequence on the top left corner of this slide. On the left, we have ground magnetic data with 3 standard filters used for interpretation. On the center, you see different classification methods applied to ground magnetic data. On the top right, it's an image showing the limited amount of training data from field mapping. And on the bottom right is the predicted geological map derived by machine learning. This can be used to quickly identify potential areas for field review. The image on the right is from the work we are doing in natural language processing. The idea here is to unlock value from static PDF documents and unstructured open source data. The image on the bottom left shows the classification of hyperspectral signatures to identify alteration types at Ahafo in Ghana. And the 3D model on the bottom center corresponds to an application of deep learning to develop a prospectivity model at our Cripple Creek and Peter mine in Colorado. Now to the conclusions. First, it pays to be first movers or fast followers in new districts, where a single greenfield discovery will unlock many brownfields ones. It's critical to maintain a healthy balance between greenfields and brownfields to achieve the levels of reserve replacement that Newmont requires. Talent makes all the difference in exploration success, but needs to be combined with an efficient operating model. The future of mining exploration is undercover and deeper. And those versed in the latest exploration technologies will continue to have competitive advantage. 3D prospectivity models combine data and knowledge and are powerful tools to identify deep targets. Thank you very much.